Hi everyone, welcome to my channel, Math Made Easy with Terry in 10 minutes, okay? So we're gonna go straight to how to solve linear inequalities questions, all right? So now we know how to graph linear inequalities, we now know how to, the concept about changing directions for inequalities, okay? So now I think we're ready now to solve linear inequalities questions. Okay, so when you're solving linear inequalities, it's similar to solving equations, all right? But an equation will have one unique solution, but an inequality will have a range of solutions. All right, so I'm going to be writing it on the board as well, so that for some of you that are taking notes, you will be able to do that. So as I usually say, or like I always say, is that I want you to don't forget to subscribe or click on the notification button so that when I post new videos, you'll be the first person to know. So one of the major difference is that for an equation, okay, an equation has only what? One unique solution, okay? So when you're solving equations, it has one unique solutions usually, but inequalities, okay? Inequalities usually have what they call a range. So it has not just one, but has a range of solutions. Okay? So that is the major difference between both of them. That is a major difference between both of them. And to solve an inequality, we calculate the values that the unknown variable can be in that inequality. So we try to calculate the values, the range of values that that unknown variable can be in that inequality. So how do you solve this? There are three rules, okay? Or three steps. So like I said, the reason why I always put the rules is that so that when you're revising your notes, you know how I solved it, and so that you can also, it'll be easier for you to revise. The first thing is that you have to rearrange the inequality so that all the unknown okay, are on one side of the inequality sign. Okay, so you have to rearrange that all the unknowns are on one side of the inequality sign. Now, but in some cases, if you have the two inequalities at once, so I have a series where I talked about this. Okay, so for two inequality at once. Now, in this case, all right, all the unknowns must be in the middle, okay? All the unknowns are usually put in the middle, okay? Or set in the middle, dependent. Then number two, when you're done, you then have to rearrange the inequality by dividing by the coefficients. Okay? So you now divide by the coefficient of the variable. So that the variable is what? Isolated. Okay? So basically what I'm just saying is that you're just making the subject of formula. Okay? So basically, isolated. So that is basically you're just making the subject of formula. Is that okay? Making the subject of formula. Okay? But if this is a two inequality at once, what happens is that the left-hand side also happens to the right-hand side, okay? So like I told you in the video, so if it's a two inequality at once, okay? So what happens to the left-hand side happens also to the right-hand side. Okay. So when you're done with that, then you then have to then write your answer with the inequality symbol. Is that okay? So you then write your answer with the inequality symbol. Okay, so you can decide then to, in some cases, they might ask you to sketch it as well. So talk about sketching, so you can sketch your answer now. That will not be a big deal. You need to find the x-intercept, y-intercept, or you can see if it's equated to a constant. So you can look at that in the previous video, all right? But if it's a two inequalities at once, okay, you might ask to list it, okay? You might be asked to list the solution. So you might be asked to list the solution. Okay. All right. So that'll be that. So we rearrange it. All right. So all the unknowns will be on one side. Then you rearrange inequality by dividing by the coefficient of the variable, and you write your answer with inequality symbol. All right. So let me pick an example now so that we can get started. Okay. So number one, we're told to then solve 4x plus 6 is less than what? 26. Okay, so step one, we're told to solve that. So what would that be? You have to rearrange the inequality so that all the unknowns are on one side of the inequality side. Okay, so let's go. So we have 4x plus 6 less than 26. Okay, I'll take 6 to the other side. So remember I said when it's crossing, the sign will change, but the direction will not change. It will be 26 minus 6, and 4x is going to be less than 20, right? So put all this in one side. Step two, now say we need to then what? Rearrange the inequality by dividing by the quotient of the variable. Is that okay? So step two, we are now dividing. We have 4x is less than 20. In order to do this, we're going to divide both sides by what? 4, or you can multiply by the inverse of the coefficient, okay? Anyone is fine. So then when you do this, so x will be less than 5. Then step 3, write your answer with the inequality symbol. So step 3, x will now be less than 5. So just in case you are being asked to sketch your solution, you can sketch this. We've talked about this before. So if this is 5, now because it's less than, you're going to put a dotted line. And this is x, and this is what? Y. Less than, I told you less than, you have to shade to the left of the line. So that means for this one, this is where the answer is. So it's important that you go back and watch the video on how to sketch inequality graph, okay? So in some questions, they'll ask you to sketch your answers or to sketch your solution. In some, you will not be asked to do so. So let's pick another example, okay? Let's pick another example and see what we can do So we have solve 3 into bracket x minus 4 less than or equal to 12. Okay, so step 1, rearrange inequality so all the unknown is on one side. All right, so we'll go now. We'll try to rearrange this. So we have step 1. We have 3 into bracket x minus 4 less than or equal to 12. You open the bracket, 3 times x. So remember I told you when you have a, b plus c, to open the bracket will be a times b and a times what? C. Is that okay? So it's going to be the same thing here. 3 times x will give you 3x. 3 times minus 4 will give you minus 12. Less than 12. You take 12 to the other side. 3x will be less than 12 plus 12. And 3x is going to be less than or equal to 24. Okay? And that will be that for that. Okay? So let's go to the next one. Step 2 said you have to rearrange the inequality by dividing by the what? The coefficients of the variable. So let's go. We have the coefficients. So step 2, we have 3x is less than or equal to 24. Divide both sides by 3. So x will be less than or equal to what? 8. So step 3, we're told to then write your answer with the inequality symbol. So we can now do step 3. Our answer here is x is less than or equal to 8. If you are told to sketch that, you can sketch that. So this is x, this is y. We're looking at x, so let's say this is 8. It's less than or equal to, you use a solid line to draw this, you use a solid line. This is less than or equal to, so that means our answer is going to be here. Okay? So we're gonna finish this up. Let's pick one more example. Okay, let's say example 3. Let's say we have minus 2y plus 7 is greater than what? 5. Okay, step 1, we have to rearrange it. So if you go back, I said the first thing you have to do, you have to rearrange inequality so that all the unknown on one side of the inequality side. Is that okay? So let's go back and do this. So it's going to be minus 2y plus 7 is greater than 5. Are you seeing it? So what do? We're going to have, we take 7 to the other side. So it's going to give us minus 2y is greater than 5 minus 7. The minus 2y is greater than 5 minus 7 will give you minus 2. Then number 2, we have to rearrange the equality by dividing by the coefficient of the variable so that the variable is isolated. So we have step 2 here now. So we have minus 2y is greater than minus 2. Now you can see because we're dividing by negative 2. So remember I told you when you divide or you multiply by negative, the symbol has to change. It's going to become less than. Are you seeing it? It's going to be less than. Minus 2 divided by minus 2 will give you 1. All right? So it's going to be less than this. So step 3, our y is less than 1. So if, for instance, you were asked to sketch your answer, it's going to be the same thing. Let's assume this is 1. Okay? So, but because it's less than, I'm going to use dotted lines. Is that okay? All right. And it's less than is below the line. So please go and watch the video on sketching. Now, because it's less than, I'm going to sketch what? Below the line for this. So this is where the range of answers for these are. Is that okay? All right. So I'm going to pick, see if I can pick one more question on this. So let's pick another example for this. So let's say we have, let's say example, I think it should be the 4th one, right? Let's pick another example. Let's assume we're told to solve 6 is less than x plus 1 less than equal to 16. Okay? So step 1, this is an example of 2 inequalities at once, right? So step 1, we are going to, if it's two inequalities at once, all the unknowns are usually put in the middle, all right? So the unknowns, we're going to put it in the middle. So we're going to have 6 is x plus 1 is less than or equal to 16. Now, because of this, we have to take -1 to this side. So remember, what you do to one side, you have to do to the other side. So that means I'm going to subtract 1 from all the sides here. So you're going to have 6 minus 1, x less than 16 minus 1. So step 2, we then have to simplify, like we said. So we're going to have 6 minus 1 is going to give us 5. X 16 minus 1 is going to give us what? 15. So step 3, in some cases, they might ask you to list all the answers for this. So it's going to be, because x is greater than 5, but less than what? And equal to 15, it's going to become 6. All the solutions are 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. So in this case, 15 is going to be part of the solution, but 5 is not because of that. In some cases as well, they can ask you to sketch the solution, okay? They can ask you to sketch the solution for this. You can also do that. Now this is x. So let's call this my y-axis, and this is my x-axis. So let's assume this is 5, and assume this is 15. Now x is greater than 5, and it's a greater than symbol. Okay, x is greater than 5, and this. So you're gonna use a dashed line for this. Are you seeing it? Now for 15, you say greater than or equal to, so you're gonna use a solid line for this. So as you can see, it said x is greater than 5. X is greater than 5. And also x is less than 15. Are you seeing it? So that means for this inequality, the solution is going to be what? This shaded region here. Okay? So that's why it's very important that you try as much as possible to review my previous videos on inequalities, so that at least you can know how to sketch a linear inequality. All right, let me pick one more. And this will be the last one for this. So example, we have, this should be example 5. We were told to solve x plus 3 divided by 5 is less than 2. So step 1, we have to make this to be on one side. So I'm going to multiply, okay, this by 5 and multiply this by 5. So we're going to have x plus 3 is less than what? 10. Okay, I take 3 to the other side. So the x is less than 10 minus 3. Step 2 is that we can be told to simplify and to become 10 minus 3, and that will give you 7. So step 3, x is less than 7. You can also be told to sketch this, same thing. Let's assume this is 7, and this is x, and that is what? Y. Less than, we're going to use a dotted line. And because it's less than, we have to shade to the left for this. So the answers for this inequality will be on the left-hand side of this what? Graph. Okay? All right, and that will be that for that. Okay, so please go back, solve more questions, and you will see that it's important that you solve more questions and from the worksheet. And if there's any question you don't understand or you're confused, please feel free to send me a message and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. All right? Okay, so I'm going to go to the next video, which will be on quadratic inequalities. Now, this time, how do you graph quadratic inequalities and how do you go about it? All right, so I'm going to see you in the next video. And if you've not subscribed, don't forget to do so that when I post a new video, you'll be the first person to know about it, especially when you click the notification bell. All right, see you soon, and I'll see you in the next video.